Good day, Cochise County, and welcome to the Michael Zehr Show. Today's date is Friday, October 14th, 2022, and I'm here at the Rising Eagle Studios at the Warrior Healing Center in Sierra Vista, Arizona, Cochise County in the great state of Arizona. Today's special guest veteran is from Team Rubicon, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the interview. Barry Pemberton. Barry, thank you so much for taking time out to come in and join us this morning. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
What I like to do when I do my interviews with our veterans is I always kind of like to go through and ask them a little bit about like where they're from, military career, stuff like that. So to get things started, where's home? Where are you from?
Well, our home now is here in Sierra Vista, but
Okay.
I'm from Indiana. I just recently moved here.
Oh, okay. What part?
Central Indiana.
Oh, okay. I used to live in
Franklin,
Napanee.
Columbus.
That's what I was
Oh,
asking.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. And you went to high school and everything there too?
Yeah, that's where I went to high school, and that's where I joined the military.
Okay. And what inspired you to join the military?
I was really looking for, adventure and to get out of where I was, small town, and
Right.
looking for,
And what year was that?
1989.
1989.
Mhm.
So when you enlisted, did they give you your choice of like first duty station and all of that good stuff, or did they just tell you this is what you're going to do, or how did that work out for you?
Yeah, no, I was offered Germany, and I thought that'd be cool, so I signed up for Germany.
Okay. So where was your basic training at?
It was at beautiful Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh, okay. And you were there for how long?
I believe 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks. And
Mhm.
then after that, what was your MOS?
I was logistics, so I went to Fort Lee, Virginia.
Fort Lee, Virginia. So I've never been on the East Coast. The farthest I think I've been east is Tennessee.
Mm.
So it's on my bucket list to get out that way someday. So, and what was it like when you were? Because I mean, the military. It's a whole new experience to you, right?
Yeah.
So you're going
Mhm.
through basic training, and then you're going to your AIT. What was that like for you? I mean, what were you going through at that time?
I was I thought it was interesting, sometimes entertaining. I really didn't like stress out on a lot of stuff. They got a job to do. I kind of have a interesting sense of humor, so
Okay.
which got me in trouble frequently as a private. But
Did it meet your expectations?
yeah, I mean,
Did it? Good.
I got I got out of Indiana. I got to go, travel the world at no expense to me, stay in beautiful places.
Awesome. So you're at Fort Lee, Virginia,
Hmm.
correct? Is that what?
Yep.
Okay. And you completed. What was it in logistics that you were doing?
I was at 90, it was a 76 Papa then, as a basically warehouse
Okay.
logistics.
All
Um,
right. And so your first duty station, where was that at?
it was in Wiesbaden, Germany, at
Wiesbaden, Germany.
563rd Ordnance Company.
Okay. And when did you arrive there? What year was that?
I arrived there in '89,
Okay.
around October. I just missed the Oktoberfest.
Now I have to ask you because I know I think I kind of have an inkling, but being from the Midwest, what's it like growing up in a small Midwestern community, never being in Germany, and then all of a sudden you're exposed to this whole different culture, this whole different way of life? What was that like?
Yeah, it was cool. It was interesting to see the different cultures, and also meeting different people in the military. It's a wide range of people. So I was just there taking it in and enjoying the environment.
Did you have any issues communicating with the general public? Because I mean, they're speaking German, and or do you know German?
I was actually married, so I lived on the German economy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right when I got there. So I learned quickly that if you try to speak the language, almost all Germans speak English. They learn it in school.
Okay.
So if you try to speak the language, they'll help you through the process, and
Oh, very cool.
so yeah,
I haven't been there. That's what I was asking. So you're in Germany for how long?
3.5 years.
For 3.5
hmm
years. And what were some of the things that you did, like on your daily uh, routine? Not only work, but also like after work. What would you do for like unwinding or hobbies? Did you even have time to do anything like that while you were there?
Um, yeah, on the weekends I would we traveled a lot, but yeah, on a day to day I called myself, I was basically like FedEx for the military. We were a theater level asset, and so I delivered supplies to Berlin Brigade and the SF guys over there in Vicenza, Italy, CTAF. So I traveled quite a lot, frequently around the world, and just wherever they would go, I would follow them and deliver supplies, different kind of. It wasn't, like it was more high level equipment for them, some red eye stingers, tow missile systems,
Okay.
kind of equipment like that. And wherever they would go, I would follow and pick up the stuff they're finished with and deliver new stuff. It was an interesting. It was a great opportunity.
Wow, very cool. So you were there for 3.5 years, you
hmm
said. And then where was your next duty station after that?
Then I went to Fort Hood, Texas.
Fort Hood.
hmm
And what was that like for you?
That was definitely different than Germany. I mean, I got there in I think April,
Okay.
and coming from a pretty warm or pretty cool environment to baking heat, it took a little adjustment, but the work was about the same. I mean, I didn't get to travel to cool places or anything, but still worked in a warehouse, and I did have a little more time off.
Wow. And so you were at Fort Hood for how long?
I was at Fort Hood for about 5 years.
Oh, that's a long time
Yeah,
to be in
yeah.
one spot. Yeah, you got kind of lucky there, huh?
Well, I mean,
Well, lucky
yeah,
that you didn't have to move around.
I was there for 3 years and I got PCS orders. So I go to my PCS order levy,
Uh
and yeah, they moved me 6 blocks to another unit on Fort Hood.
huh.
Yeah,
Now that's what I call traveling the world, huh?
yeah,
Going
right.
down the block. How long? So you were there for, you said, 5.5 years, right?
5 years.
5 years, and
Yeah,
then so that by that time you had about what, 8.5, 9 years
yeah,
in.
8.5 years. Uh-huh.
Okay, and then what was next for you?
So after that, I had a little. I got out. There was a little issue with my reenlistment. Being I reenlisted to go back to Germany, but the unit retention guy changed my orders with a buddy of his, and I was going to Korea, and his buddy was going to Germany.
So you ended up going to Korea.
No, no,
Oh, you didn't.
no.
You were able to get out of it.
I got out of it, but in the process, the the retention guy got processed out of the army, and I was offered the opportunity. They took me off levy for Korea and said in a year I would come back on levy. So I chose to get out of the army and join the guard. And I did that for about a year or so, and then I went AGR, Active Guard and Reserve.
Okay.
Um,
So you went. How many years total did you have in the army at that time?
8.5.
8.5. So then you went from there. You went into the guard.
Yeah.
And where were you at when you went to the guard? Did
So
you go
I
back
was
to Indiana or
in Indiana.
did you?
And then a little later, I went active duty, Guard and Reserve. And that's where that's basically where I retired out of. Active duty was in Indiana.
So you were able to fulfill like a 20-year obligation then, so you retired from the military?
Yeah.
And you said that you had mentioned that you were married. Yeah, have any kids or?
Oh yeah, I have two boys,
Okay,
25 and 23.
all right,
My youngest one just graduated from Purdue with honors.
all right. Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And give them a shout out. Go ahead and say hi to your wife and kids. And
Yeah, yeah. So it's Valerie, my stunningly beautiful wife, Valerie Pemberton, and my sons, Zachary and Lucas.
very good, very good. And you're here in. So how did you? That's what I was going to ask you next. How did you end up going from Indiana then and ended up here in Cochise County in Sierra Vista?
So I would say about 15 years ago, I came here for a training opportunity. It was a 3-week class here, and for I think it was transportation or something.
Was this a contract position
No,
or?
this was I was active duty, and it was a
Oh, okay, okay.
mobilization officer, I think.
I got you.
And the brigade commander always wanted a full timer to go with the traditional guys that come for these trainings, and I got to come, and I also brought my wife and the 2 sons here. So for 3 weeks we stayed in a hotel at Tombstone.
Town too tough to die.
Yeah, And my wife really liked the area and the weather and stuff, and she's like, this is where I want to retire. And I retire in 2015. About stay there for a while, and a job opportunity come up here in Fort Huachuca, and I was like, hey, what do you think? So here we are.
Did your kids go to school here?
No.
No, they were older enough by then, or?
My boys both stayed in Indiana.
Oh, they did. Okay. Wow. So you came to Sierra Vista again. What year was that?
That was this year.
This year. Okay. And when you first, well, when you came back though, right? Because you said that you.
Oh
were
yeah.
here earlier. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you came and moved here from Indiana this year, you had to have noticed a lot of changes within Sierra Vista since you'd been here before, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Town's grown quite a bit, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because I know I've been here since '77, and I've seen a lot of changes, and this town is constantly seems to be growing. And one thing that I just love about our community is that we'd all give our shirt off our back to help our neighbor or help anybody in the community when they're in need and in distress. So that which kind of segues into some of the community activities that you do, including Team Rubicon. Can you tell us a little bit what Team Rubicon is and where is it based out of? And because I had heard of it, but I wasn't that familiar with it. But then when you and I talking again off camera, you shared some interesting stories. So I'd like to have our guests share it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined Team Rubicon right after I retired from active duty in 2015, 2016, around the end, right around there.
How did you find them?
I was looking for something. I was looking for something to do, somewhere to make a difference, somewhere to get engaged with like-minded people, and just talk with other veterans. And I was looking around for something that would kind of fit what I was looking for, and I come across Team Rubicon, which basically we do disaster recovery all over the world. It's a veteran-led non-for-profit organization that does, like I said, disaster recovery. We do service projects in the local community, and we, most importantly to me, it's a kind of a threefold mission to where we focus a lot on veterans and the veteran transition, kind of bridging that gap between the military and the civilian world, to where you still have, kind of that brotherhood or sisterhood of family, military family that's there for you, and kind of help you with your daily struggles, which we all have. And what we do is, so we go out and we do disaster recovery, say in the local community, or
Well,
like
take Hurricane Ian, for example.
yeah. So Hurricane Ian, we're in Florida and we're in Puerto Rico doing. So we were in Puerto Rico stage there, and after it come over, we went over there and we do basic some sawyer work. We do some route clearing. We clear the roads for first responders and people can get in there. We also do what we call core ops or muck out houses. We'll do a damage assessment on the building and kind of prioritize what needs to be done, and then we'll send it in strike teams. What we call teams of veterans, and we're veterans, first responders, and what we say kick-ass civilians, all working together in one common goal, of focusing on helping people on their worst day.
Right.
And so we'll go in there, we'll muck out a house, we'll take everything out of the house, and we'll strip the drywall down to the studs a foot above where the water line is. So when everything's cleared out, either the homeowner or the contractors can come in and just right away throw that drywall back up there. And the goal is to get the community back to normalcy as soon as possible. Wow. And we also do training. So all the training we do is absolutely free. And we do, I teach core operations, which is damage assessments. You go out and do a damage assessment on the house, like I said. We'll teach you how to do that and teach you how to muck out houses. We also talk a lot about personal protective equipment, PPE is what we call it, for when you are in these environments. Safety glasses, right, hard hats if needed. Sometimes if you go under a house, you'll put on the Tyvek suits to stay clean as possible. All of these are volunteers, and we do Sawyer training, Saw 1, Saw 2.
What is that? If you could share that a little bit.
Yeah. So what the Saw 1 and Saw 2 is basically using chainsaws to cut down trees, and also once the trees are down, bucking and limbing trees, which means you chop them in smaller halves and cut off the limbs and stuff, to make them manageable to move. And okay, we move them, to the side of the road or, whatever really the homeowner wants done with that stuff within reason. And once you become a Saw 1, that basically you can buck and limb trees, but you can't cut down a tree until you're a Saw 2. So Saw 2 levels are a little more advanced, and once you get to the Saw 2, which both of these are, we follow the same guidelines as the Bureau of Land Management. So a lot of this training helps you, with if you're looking to get into, maybe doing some of the wildfire stuff. That will transition well over to that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we have, at last I knew, there was 10 SAW teams, all veterans, that help out with the fire mitigation with the wildfires.
So with somebody that's on a Saw 1, because I'm just kind of trying to get an idea in my head, would they be responsible for trees that have already been down by winds or damage? They would go in and cut those up, whereas Saw 2 would go in and cut down trees or make room for area to clean the area a bit. I mean, that's what I was trying to get the difference between the.
So Saw 1 would, it can cut down or chop up trees and buck and limb them is what they call it.
Okay.
Trees that are on the ground. And the Saw 2s are basically more experienced guys that can say a tree is on a house or a hazard tree that that is going to fall,
Right.
but
Gonna be a
hasn't
hazard.
yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so these guys are a little more skilled, and they can make sure that the tree falls away from houses, or
Yes. Gotcha.
that.
Thank you for that. I
Oh,
appreciate it. I just
yeah.
got a little confused there. Just me personally.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good catch. I should have, yeah, been a little more clear.
But I'm just so fascinated by this because I really didn't know that you guys did all of this.
Hmm.
What were some of your personal goals or missions that you want to accomplish with Team Rubicon?
So one was, just like I said, when I come off active duty, you're doing 150 miles an hour with your hair on fire and, thriving in chaos to bam, you're out of the military, you're doing like 5 miles an hour.
It's a big adjustment.
Trying to make that adjustment. And I was looking, like I said, for some like-minded people that, I could talk with because sometimes civilians don't get our sense of humor,
Right.
and they definitely haven't been seeing stuff that we've seen. So one, being able to talk with like-minded people, and then two is getting that sense of purpose back, and finding a new mission, for to something. For me, it was I was looking for something to feed my soul,
Wow. Very deep.
and that for me, that's Team Rubicon. Looking for I went to my first op uh, pretty close after I retired, and it was in West Virginia.
I was going to ask you where it was at and what the
Yeah,
situation was.
it was in West Virginia. Op Country Road, still one of the best ops ever.
Okay.
But yeah, I went there just, hey, I'm coming down. And I was kind of open and honest with, I was like, hey, I do have some limitations. I can't, like I couldn't muck out a house for 8 hours straight, and they were great, very responsive. Said, "Oh yeah, come on down, man. We got something for you. Absolutely." I go down there, and I walk our fob. We call where we are staying is FOBs, forward operating base.
Right.
So basically, it's either a parking lot at Home Depot or a garage, or in this circumstance, it was an elementary school that we were staying at for our fob, where we were running operations out of. And as soon as I walked in there, a bunch of guys greeted me. Yeah, within minutes we were,
Felt like home.
yeah, we were busting each other's chops,
Yeah.
and they said, okay, so here's a shirt, here's your gray shirt, put your name on there, let's go make some shit happen.
Get her done.
Yeah, we call it GSD,
Yeah.
get shit done. And from there on, I was hooked, because we work all day, helping people, and I was mucking out houses, and I was also doing some logistics work, helping out with logistics on the fob.
Right.
And so after 8 hours, we come in, we clean up our equipment, we get our equipment ready for the next day, and then we sit around a campfire and talk about the successes for the day, and
Wow.
and it, a bunch of mostly veterans and first responders,
Uh huh.
and some civilians. We kind of, after a while, you can get into those, kind of deeper conversations of, your struggles, and where you're at, and it kind of really opened my eyes to, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to be, kind of doing. And I ran into a couple of Clay Hunt Fellows, which Clay Hunt Fellows are veterans that go into a fellowship, basically kind of figuring out, figuring out you, figuring out your struggles, and being open and honest about, your challenges and your struggles.
Right.
And, once you kind of figure that out, you and come out of that fellowship, definitely a changed person. Then you kind of, you're open and willing to help out other veterans with those struggles, just being willing to talk about yours. So, that was, I was like, I eventually, want to be a volunteer leader, and I would love to eventually become a Clay Hunt Fellow. And I became a volunteer leader in engagement, and which was a huge thing for me. And a guy, Jack Ginther, never gave up on me, and he just kept kind of, hey, you should do this, you should do this, you should do
Right.
this.
Yeah.
And
Encourage you.
yeah, and got me engaged in that, and from there it just kind of took off, and I applied for the Clay Hunt Fellowship. It took me 5 times to become a Clay Hunt Fellow, but realistically, it's because I wasn't, ready. I wasn't, willing to be open and honest and vulnerable about, my experience and stuff. I put on the application. I was like, I want to be a Clay Hunt Fellow. Here's what I did, and I make shit happen.
Right.
Instead of, being willing to be vulnerable with your, experience, and willing to talk about it. And also, so the fellowship is basically 12 veterans, and it's just veterans. That's the only thing that's kind of closed off in Team Rubicon to the first responders and civilians, is the fellowship, to where 12 veterans get together and basically, get this amazing bond, kind of like when you're deployed overseas or something with that small group of guys or females.
Right.
We had both, where you become, kind of instantly bonded and family for life. That's my view on it, if they like it or not. The 12 of them are family to life to me. And you have 3 or 4 Clay Hunt Fellow leaders, which kind of help guide the process. And it was amazing for me. I mean, it pulled me out of a very, very dark place, and kind of reinvigorated and definitely give me that sense of purpose of wanting to make a difference, not only in your community but also in the life of veterans. My goal is, at least try to make a difference in one veteran's life a week. So that's kind of been my goal. And the fellowship, the Clay Hunt Fellowship, is basically named after one of the first members of Team Rubicon, Clay Hunt. He was a huge veteran advocate. He had his own struggles. He was a veteran sniper, and he had his own trials and tribulations. And one night he took his own life. And the CEO and one of the founding members of Team Rubicon, Jake Wood, he was his sniper partner. And so Jake wanted to do something, so he did this Clay Hunt Fellowship, which has been amazing for hundreds of veterans. In turn, these veterans go out and try to make an impact in the community.
Wow. I have to ask this. What is it like when you go into some of these disaster areas and you're interacting with the victims? What kind of feedback do you get from them, and how's that?
So some of those are amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not great at the the what I call touchy-feely stuff.
Touchy-feely, right.
Yeah. I'm more mission-focused.
Right.
But, I've come around to, you know, I always have somebody there that's going to be, someone very empathetic and great
Right.
at, kind of connecting. They kind of helped me, with it. But I have definitely come a long way. But to talk with some of these victims, and they're always just so thankful, and can't believe that we're doing this, and just so very, very nice and gracious. But of course, some of the biggest impacts are, we're out there and you come across a house where, it's a World War II veteran, and there's a tree on his house, or he's got a big hole in his house. We're of course going to go that extra mile.
Yeah.
And when we muck out houses, for any house, we're very conscious of, this is people's lives that we're pulling out, and to be cognizant of that, and try to tone down because you want to get in there and you want to, make a difference for these people, but you want to do it in let's say a professional manner, and be cognizant of, this is these people's lives.
Yeah.
To where, sometimes you get in there and you're so motivated where, you're got a sledgehammer and you're just tearing stuff up to get it out of the way quickly. And, let's say that person's walks into their house and see you doing this.
Yeah.
Just one of those learning lessons to where, some of the senior leaders or some of the volunteer leaders, and definitely any Clay Hunt fellow will definitely be very cognizant of that, and kind of talk things through with the strike teams, to make sure we're very cognizant of this is somebody's life, and
right.
We appreciate your motivation to want to get it done and done right, but still, don't sound like you're having a great time doing it.
Well, the reason I asked that question is because in 2011, June 19th, 2011, here in Sierra Vista, we had a monument wildfire that had been burning for quite a while. And so I lost everything that day. That was Father's Day. 32 years my wife had just gone up in smoke, right? So as a person who's used to helping and giving and helping others and having that empathy for others, to be on that other end, now you're on the receiving end. And that's why I had to ask, because for me personally, it's very hard to accept that help,
Yeah.
But man, when you need it, even though it's hard to accept it when you need it, it's a godsend. So you're doing God's work. And just so that from somebody that's had a loss in a natural disaster like that, organizations like yourself, the ones that helped us out was Real Wishes, and there was a Baptist, Southern Baptist that came in and went through all of our ashes and found my wife's, my son's Buena High School class ring. It's just weird. But But the thing I'm saying is that as a victim of that, I wanted you to know how important what you're doing is, which that leads me into my next line of questioning is, what are your plans for here in Sierra Vista and Cochise County? Because from what I understand talking to you earlier, you want to get it's basically just you here right now? Or?
It's me and one other, there's one other volunteer leader, and there's a couple of what we call gray shirts. That's what everybody's called on Team Rubicon, is a gray shirt.
Who's that? What are their names? Who are they?
Still their names on their shirt.
Right.
Give
them a shout out, I meant.
No?
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of...
They like to stay behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
For now.
All right.
But so yeah, I'm here and I plan on building my TR empire here. We're looking for volunteer leaders. We're looking for gray shirts, people, and it's not like going to Florida or going to Puerto Rico or like I know there were some floods here in St. David where
Yeah.
some houses needed some help. Um, that's our goal is to and what I say is everybody there's always another seat at the TR table, regardless of your limitations or whatever. Rest assured, we have a place for you at Sierra Vista TR, Team Rubicon. We do, I plan on doing some service projects here in the community, helping out wherever we can. We're going to have some great training here in Sierra Vista. I have a core ops class for 12 November, uh, which I have set up. You do have to be a TR member to take the class, but signing up for TR is easy. I mean, there's of course no expense to sign up. You just sign up for Team Rubicon, and you're a volunteer, so there's no expectations of you spending 2 weeks in Puerto Rico or Florida. If you just want to come out for, to help the community, and say if there's a disaster here, we'll already have a team here, in place, so we can help our community out. And we also do what we call socials, um, which are basically I like to have socials, either someplace really cool, like say this axe throwing place in town. I'm looking at that. I think that'd be cool. But also having campfires, just kind of maybe a cookout and sit around the campfire and talk about our experiences or just make fun of each other. Um,
Well, I think that with our audience watching this, if this moves you, I really encourage you to get involved with Team Rubicon. You also mentioned that there are also some local community like functions or something that you said that you guys might be able to provide, if I understood correctly, or
yeah, we do some like I said, we'll do some service projects that uh, come around, and there's not a lot we don't, there's not a lot we won't take on. I mean, there's some stuff like in my when I was in Indiana as a administrator for Indiana for TR, we stripped out. There was four duplexes that Indianapolis give this church to be a battered women's shelters.
wow.
We went in, and the house had been abandoned. These duplexes had been abandoned for
Uh-huh.
20 years or more. So we went in. We stripped everything out of the house down to the studs. Um, we got everything ready for them to bring in contractors to put the drywall back up and get everything ready to go as soon as possible. And we've also done that for the Habitat for Humanity, where they'll get a house, where they'll buy back a house, and it needs to be brought up to code.
Right.
So we'll go in there and do the exact same thing, strip it out. Now, with when I say we do that, the first time we did that for the Habitat for Humanity, we kind of had a little incident where so the lady takes us to this house. There's 10 of us. We've all worked together before, all veterans. And the lady was like, okay, here's the house. Yeah, everything, eventually everything needs to be stripped out of the house and the siding needs to be off, And I was like, all right, yeah. And she's like, well, I'll be back at lunch. I got to go run some other errands. Well, when she came back, everything was done. We had we had stripped everything out of the house down to the studs, and we'd taken off the siding. And she comes back and she's like, "Oh my, so this usually takes us 6 to 8 weeks, and there's different volunteer organizations that do, you know, different pieces, you know." So I was like, "Oh, sorry, you know, you should have told us we could only, you know, I mean,
Do certain areas,
yeah,
or yeah.
you know." I was like, "Sorry, but you know, you got 10 motivated people here that you know, want to get some stuff done."
Yep.
So usually I've learned to give that disclaimer. If you want to leave stuff for other people, you have to tell us, because, you know, we don't mess around.
Wow.
We're there to handle business, and sometimes we handle too much business.
How did you get involved with or find out about the Warrior Healing Center here?
So when I got here, I, you know, started asking around, um, you know, for where would be a great place to kind of get engaged with some excellent organizations that make a difference in veterans and the community. And the Warrior Healing Center always come up in conversation. So, yeah, I started emailing and, you know, making contact. And then one day I just showed up here and was like, "Hey, I'm Barry Pimmer to Team Rubicon. How can we help you?"
Very cool. Do you have any last thing that you'd like to share with us? Any kind of last words for any of our veterans that are watching, maybe, that you'd like to share?
Well, I would really like to encourage you to go to teamrubicon.org and check it out. I guarantee you there's a place for you here. Like I said, you know, everybody's welcome at our table. And you don't have to be a veteran. Like I said, you can be first responder or a, you know, just a kick-ass civilian that wants to make a difference in your community, your
Yes.
country, or the world. Depending on what your scope is, we're here to help. So, you know, I just like to say, encourage you, you know, to, and it'll be amazing you know, the sense of purpose you'll get.
And if they want to contact you personally, how could they do that? Do you have an email address that we can put up for you later,
Yeah,
or
I have an
what would
email
that be?
address, yeah, that I can give to you, and it's Barry.Pemberton, Pemberton
Okay.
dot, or sorry, yeah, dot Team Rubicon USA.org. Or you could just go to teamrubicon.org, and you should be able to kind of drill down to find me as the Sierra Vista.
So it's Barry.Pemberton
At Team Rubicon
Team Rubicon. Okay.
.org.
Very cool. So if you have any questions, you want to get a hold of Barry, go ahead and shoot him an email at that email address. And when we edit the description of the interview, we'll get that email address put up there for you today for that also. Okay. Barry, thank you so much for coming in and joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I really appreciate
Mm-hmm.
it. And you're doing God's work, and to not only to you, but all of those on Team Rubicon that might see this video. Personally, I want to say thank you. What you do makes a difference. It really does. So thank you. And I have no events today. Last week I didn't have a show. I had a cold, and I'm just out of sorts a little bit right now. So I forgot to ask Kathy to get a list of the events. So that was on me. So I'll have that next week when I have my next interview, which will be a week from today. So I hope that you'll tune in. Again, thanks everybody for joining us. Have a great day and have a great weekend. See you next Friday.